Tree of Knowledge Good and Evil. By anonymous author. It is a single tree that bears two kinds of fruit. His name is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. As his name is, so also are his fruits, namely, good and evil, fruits of life and death, of love and wrath, of light and darkness. This tree was presented to Adam in his innocence, and although he had freedom to regard it as a tree of God's wonders, the divine prohibition would not allow him to put his desire into it and eat of it, but threatened him that he would die of his fruit. For it was the tree of separation, in which good and evil contended with each other in division, but life cannot exist in strife, for strife gives birth to discord, and discord breeds death. But life dwells in the sweet unity of love. Therefore, when Adam had eaten from this tree, the strife arose within him, and in this strife he lost his life. Nevertheless, the wretched man does not want to become wiser through such a fall and damage. His desire is always for this tree and its fruits. He lusts after the subtlety of diversity and is always in conflict, since he could find peace if only he wanted to return to the unity of simplicity. The light of life stands in the midst to show man the way to the first rest, and the Father in heaven causes his sun to rise over evil and good. But each grows according to its kind, and man is more inclined towards the stars to see the multitude that he freely chooses as his leaders, since they often lead him away from the true light and stay in the vortex of uncertainty that moves more and more from the inner face of the suns into the outer winds out and cannot find an end or place of rest where it does not wind its way in again from the outside and seeks the beginning from which all the smaller stars, lights have emanated. So even among 7 stars there is hardly one who turns his rays inward so that they could point the inquiring mind towards Bethlehem. And among the 7 eyes that twist around in the whirlwind of searching desire, there is hardly a single one that stands turned inwards after the Sabbath. But the restless mobility of the workers drives them through all spheres, and even if they take a look at the miracles of God, because they have turned to the external world, they only see them from the outside, and every eye sees them only that into which it is led by its desire. Man was created by God for a constant Sabbath. He was not supposed to work himself, but rather let God work in him. He should not take anything for himself with his hands, but only receive what was richly offered to them by God's goodness. But he left the Sabbath and wanted to work for himself. He stretched out his hand, contrary to the commandment, to take in his own desire what he was not granted to take. That's why God let him fall there, and because he had despised the rest, he afterwards had to feel the restlessness with pain. In such restlessness of self-active life, all human children still stretch out their hand and want to take hold of that through which they seek to obtain their pleasure. And as their understanding and will is, so is their grasp. Some hands reach for the good, some hands reach out to evil. Many reach for the fruit, some just by the leaves, some take hold of a branch with fruit and leaves. What everyone has taken, they delight in, and the poor people don't know that all their effort and work is only a particular study. They all grasp at the peace and can obtain the whole. They look for peace and do not find it, because they look for it from outside in the restlessness of the movement, since it lives in the inner silence of the inner center. And even if one takes more action than the other, it is still piecemeal. Sometimes out of 7 hands there is one which comes close to the mystery and grasps the entire trunk of the tree at the place where the divided, disgusting realms of its branches merge again into unity. But she is still far from the root of the tree. She only grasps and feels the secret from the outside and does not yet really see it from the inside. For the root of this tree, which goes through the sphere of the visible world mixed with good and evil into the spheres of the invisible world, since light and darkness dwell in themselves, is only understood by the eye of wisdom, which is in the center of all spheres stands. This eye looks in the highest rest the wonders of all movements, and see through all other eyes, which, apart from rest, wander around in restlessness and want to see before themselves without the right eye of wisdom, since they all received their vision from it. This I can test all spirits to see how intelligent, loud and sharp they are. It understands where good and evil come from. Light and darkness are revealed before him. Time and eternity, visible and invisible, present and future, earthly and heavenly, physical and spiritual, high and deep, external and internal are understood by him. And yet none of them bothers it, because it lives in the center of peace, since everything, apart from strife, stands in the same way, whatever it sees, it also possesses. For in the center of his rest is the royal throne, to which everything is subject. Therefore, O dear human being, if you want to regain the right understanding and the right peace, stop your works and let God alone work in you, then the eye of wisdom will open in you. And you will reach a studio particulari ad universal, particular to universal, and in one, find everything.